Coming up on NT Daily News, find out how a new polling location on UNT's campus could have some city council members in hot water.
Allergy season is here. We'll tell you which trees are causing high pollen counts.
And it's time to play ball. Find out why this season is a very important one for the Texas Rangers.
From the Mayborn School of Journalism at the University of North Texas, this is NT Daily News.
Two Denton City Council members will have to appear before the Ethics Board. Thanks for joining us. I'm Victoria Wickham.
And I'm Noah Borden. A complaint against the council members says they went against the Ethics Board advice when they voted for a polling location on the UNT campus. NT Daily's Caroline Cluess is live at City Hall. Now, Caroline, this is a complicated story.
Yes, lots of pointing fingers. Last night, part of the Denton Board of Ethics voted to send the council members to the full board for a hearing. Ethics Board member Ron Johnson filed the complaints after council members Deb Armentor and Paul Meltzer voted to create a polling location on the UNT campus. Meltzer's wife and Armentor both work at UNT, which Johnson's complaint says was a conflict of interest. The board has not weighed in with a final decision. According to Meltzer, this upcoming hearing is the first time both sides of the story will be heard.
In the advisory opinion, in the preliminary hearing, it's only been one side that's been heard. So people haven't yet heard that, for instance, there was no arrangement with UNT being made. UNT gets no money from this. There's no one from UNT speaking to us even.
Neither Armentor nor Meltzer are up for re-election, and the new polling place is not in their district. The Denton Board of Ethics was created less than a year ago, and nowhere does it say ignoring an advisory opinion is a violation. The Ethics Board is now looking to change the definition of a conflict of interest, but the complaints against the council members are still ongoing. Metzler says Johnson put himself on the ethics committee, even ethics advisory panel, even though he's running for city council in the district that includes UNT, which Meltzer has a problem with. Meltzer also told me that no matter the outcome of the hearing, the UNT Greek Life Center will remain a polling location. Live for NT Daily News, I'm Caroline Cluess.
Denton drivers are going to want to pay attention this weekend. The intersection of Loop 288 and I-35 East will be closed. We're talking about the area right by the Golden Triangle Mall. Last Monday, electronic message boards announced the closure. The intersection will close starting Friday night at 10 and will reopen later Monday morning at 6.
The first pediatric flu-related death in Denton for this flu season was recently reported. I was able to get more information on what happened and what you can do to prevent the spread of the deadly virus. Denton County Public Health reported the first pediatric influenza-associated death for this year's flu season on Tuesday. They released a statement saying, quote, "Losing a child in our community to influenza is incredibly difficult, and this family remains in our thoughts. We continue to see flu activity within Denton County, and flu is certainly still a risk. We want to remind residents to keep washing your hands, covering coughs and sneezes, and stay home if you are sick to best protect yourselves and others." No further information about the victim has been released. Flu season is still going on, but could be coming to an end soon.
So it's still active. Flu season typically does end at the end of March, but we've had them go into May before.
Stanhope recommends people still take extreme caution when using things such as handrails, door handles, or public transportation. Denton is particularly a hot spot for the flu due to multiple college campuses and a diverse population. Over 1,000 positive influenza tests have been reported this season, according to Denton County Public Health. Most positive cases occurred in February, and they have been on a steady decline throughout March. But even this late in the season, it is still recommended that you get vaccinated.
Because there are populations like young children and the elderly or those who have immunocompromised conditions who can't get vaccinated themselves. So by vaccinating those around them, you protect those people as well because they're less likely to get the flu from the people who are vaccinated.
You can still get your flu vaccine at local pharmacies. For more information on how to prevent the spread of the flu, visit DentonCounty.com. Denton County may be one of the healthiest in Texas, but local public health officials also say STD infections are on the rise. Denton Public Information Officer Jennifer Rainey says STD infections have been on the rise for 3 years. Rainey says the rate of infection has almost doubled. She says it's likely because Denton County is home to two big universities, Texas Women's University and the University of North Texas.
We have a lot more young students, and the age and population that typically sees the most STIs and STDs is young adults.
Advice: if you're sexually active, make sure you're using protection and getting tested every 6 months. The Public Health Clinic offers STD testing and treatment for $30.
As spring continues to blossom in North Texas, so does the pollen count. I found out which trees seasonal allergy sufferers should be aware of.
This is the last of the elm bloom. This is American elm.
Spring is here in North Texas. It's a season where trees begin to bloom, flowers start to blossom, and the grass gets a little greener. But for many people, it means it's the start of allergy season. Louisville Lake Environmental Learning Area Director Kenneth Stiegman says there's several trees that give people problems, including one that doesn't even grow here.
That's the ash juniper, which, if you're familiar with the Austin area and the hill country, that's a tree that grows down there in huge numbers, and that pollen travels in the air for hundreds of miles.
Stiegman says currently green ash and Texas ash trees are starting to bloom in North Texas, and he expects to see more pollen in the air in the upcoming weeks.
Hackberry is blooming now, just starting to bloom. That's another early successional tree that we find in all these woodland areas, probably one of our most common trees.
High levels of pollen are reported in the air this week in Denton. The Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America says some symptoms of pollen allergy include sneezing, nasal congestion, red and watery eyes, and mucus production.
For more information on pollen allergy, you can visit AAFA's website.
Coming up next, we'll tell you why Twitter is keeping an eye on President Trump.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
So we were walking to school. I started thinking about lunch. Mom packed me turkey and cheese.
She's
I really
smart.
want cheese pizza.
Sometimes her mind wanders.
We should have a sleepover.
I remember saying, Laura?
I think I heard Mom say something.
The sign says don't walk.
Sometimes it's so overwhelming.
I really hope she doesn't
I
have
really
another
hope we
bad
don't
day
have
at
another bad day at
today.
school today.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
The Special Olympics is facing budget cuts from the Trump administration. NT Daily's Caitlin Griffin is here to tell us what that means for the organization.
Special Olympics stands to lose nearly $18 million if the Trump administration's proposal passes. I spoke with local Special Olympics groups to find out how this will affect their teams.
No, I didn't personally get involved in that.
Well, I want to tell you, whoever came up with that idea at OMB gets a Special Olympic gold medal for insensitivity.
Several congressional members, including Illinois Senator Dick Durbin, took issue with the cuts in a hearing with the Secretary of Education. The cuts mean programs in local schools could cease to exist. In a phone interview, an official with the Greater Dallas area branch of the Special Olympics says the cuts would impact up to 60 schools and 100 more that want programs to help Special Olympic athletes.
We would still be able to do a lot of our typical programming, but where the cuts will hurt the most is through some of our programming that we are doing in the schools and in our school districts in the area.
Local teams in places like Louisville don't receive federal money. Instead, they rely on special education grants and private fundraisers for their needs.
The proposed cuts won't affect our ability to continue serving all the athletes and providing all the sports that we always have. And the reason is because none of that money was ever reaching us at the delegation level. We've always had to fundraise to meet our budget.
But those special education grants are also on the chopping block in the proposed federal budget. The National Special Olympics chairman released a video statement on social media vowing to fight for the organization.
We're committed to asking members of both parties to support our work to build inclusion in every school in the United States, unified sports teams in every school in the United States, and to unlocking the gifts of our athletes as teachers of empathy, grit, and resilience and inclusion.
This is the third time the administration has proposed to cut funding to the organization. There are 7,500 Special Olympic athletes in the Dallas area. Some of them will be competing this weekend in Crum.
Twitter is cracking down on political figures' tweets, starting with President Trump. Wednesday, the platform announced it will consider flagging tweets from the president and other politicians that breaks its rules. Critics have commented on the president's tweets, saying they often break the rules of bullying, dehumanization, and threatening harm. The platform has said the tweets won't be removed because they are of public interest. Republicans still have no backup health care plan for when the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, is appealed. CNN's Abby Phillips reports.
Tonight, President Trump is defending his administration's surprise decision to join a lawsuit that would entirely eliminate the Affordable Care Act, commonly referred to as Obamacare.
Phase one of the lawsuit terminates Obamacare, essentially terminates Obamacare. You know that's the Texas lawsuit. We think it'll be upheld, and we think it'll do very well in the Supreme Court.
But sources tell CNN there is no such plan.
We are going to be the Republicans, the party of great health care.
The administration's decision came after months of heated debate among Trump's advisors. But sources say it still caught key lawmakers and even some White House officials off guard.
Last year, I wrote to Attorney General Jeff Sessions and protested the department not defending the parts of the law that provide protections to consumers with pre-existing conditions. Now the administration is going way beyond that and seeking to invalidate the entire law. This is contrary to the tradition of the Justice Department, which generally defends laws.
One key area is health.
CNN has learned that Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar and Attorney General Bill Barr opposed the move. Azar worried that the administration did not have a plan to replace Obamacare, and Barr backed lawyers within the administration who opposed the legal case being made by the states against Obamacare. But Trump's acting chief of staff Mick Mulvaney argued for overturning the entire law, hoping to put the issue back on the agenda for congressional Republicans.
Are chances any greater than zero that this Congress could come together on a replacement?
You know, I doubt it, but what is the Republican Party for?
What's the Republican Party alternative?
A block grant. To take the money out of Washington.
Director, how was the meeting? All this as the debate rages about why Special Counsel Robert Mueller decided against taking a position on whether Trump obstructed justice. Former FBI Director James Comey called the decision confusing, telling NBC News he viewed Trump's own words as evidence of potential obstruction.
He says, when I decided to just do it, talking about firing you, I said to myself, you know, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story. What did you think when you heard that?
I thought that's potentially obstruction of justice, and I hope somebody is going to look at that.
The president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, offering this explanation about why Mueller did not weigh in instead.
I have a guess as to what happened. I think his staff was in debate over it. And it's a question of interpretation, not fact.
And as Democrats demand to see the full Mueller report, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell again blocked a Democratic effort to call for the report's full release. And despite Trump's claim that the report is a total and complete exoneration, a new CNN poll shows a majority of voters say the president and his campaign have not been exonerated by Mueller. Instead, 56% say they believe collusion simply could not be proven.
The president's vow to come up with an Obamacare replacement hold a heavy weight to those who may end up losing their health care.
2 years ago, he drove into a crowd of people in Charlottesville. Today, he pleads guilty. James Alex Fields pleaded guilty to 29 federal hate crimes. Fields drove his Dodge Challenger into a crowd of protesters, killing one and injuring more than 24 people. He was convicted in December for multiple charges, including first-degree murder. Fields will not face the death penalty because of his guilty plea. British Prime Minister Theresa May has offered her resignation in the newest Brexit update. The Prime Minister met with her backbench 22 committee and said that she would stand down in the event that she got her deal through the House of Commons. In order to secure the longer extension of the European Union, May must get her deal through by the end of the week.
Next, breakdancing could be in the 2024 Olympics. We'll tell you what other sport could be added to.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed. I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it. I just want my family to be safe. But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
It is opening day for Major League Baseball. MLB fans have 30 different teams to watch, including the Texas Rangers and the Chicago Cubs this afternoon. The Rangers finished last season with a record of 67-95, while the Cubs went 95-68. But don't let those numbers scare you. This is a new year for the Rangers' young team. On the mound, Rangers ace Mike Minor battles with the Cubs' John Lester for the win. Today is the final opening day game of Globe Life Park. It's been the Rangers' home field for 25 years, but they'll move to a new stadium next season. The UNT football team had its pro day at Apogee Stadium this afternoon. 11 players participated in this year's skills showcase, which was attended by scouts from the Green Bay Packers, New York Giants, and Dallas Cowboys. Scouts traveled all around the country for more than a month to watch college athletes up close in person. If they like what they see, they'll draft those players in April at the NFL Draft, which starts on the 25th of next month in Nashville, Tennessee. I-35 West is going to be busy this week as the Texas Motor Speedway hosts the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The NASCAR weekend kicks off today with truck practice, followed by qualifying rounds and ending Sunday with the 500-mile race. Last year, Kyle Busch won by 0.3 seconds for his third victory in Texas, and fans are filled with anticipation to see if he will win again. Other past Texas winners, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, and Denny Hamlin are also competing. If you're interested, tune in to Fox Sports this weekend to see the races. If you've always felt like skateboarding should be an Olympic sport, then you'll be pleasantly surprised today. There's a push to give you a youthful spin to the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. The International Olympic Committee Executive Board is backing a recommendation to bring new sports to the legendary event. They include breakdancing, skateboarding, sport climbing, and surfing. IOC President Thomas Bach says the move could offer the opportunity to connect with the young generation. Bach also says these sports are being included on a provisional basis. A final decision will only be taken at the end of next year's Olympics. That's all for this week in sports. Noah and Victoria, back to you.
Doctors made history today.
That's right. For the first time ever, a kidney has been transplanted from an HIV-positive patient to another HIV-positive patient. The donor is 36-year-old Nina Martinez of Atlanta, Georgia. She acquired HIV from transfusion in 1983 when she was just 6 weeks old. HIV-positive organ transplants were not allowed at all until 2013 because both the virus and the drugs used to control it can damage kidneys. Since they became legal, about 100 have been performed, but all the donor kidneys came from deceased patients until now. Doctors had to make sure Martinez and her anonymous recipient and other similar strains of HIV so the recipient's treatment plan will still be effective.
After 2 Boeing planes crashed, the FAA is being questioned.
CNN's Omar Jimenez reports.
We need to understand exactly what happened.
On Capitol Hill, there are growing questions about why the FAA didn't immediately ground Boeing's 737 MAX 8 planes in the wake of 2 crashes that killed more than 300 people combined.
These questions, when they arise, if they arise, are troubling because we should have absolute confidence in the regulators that they are certifying properly.
The agency claims it wasn't seeing any systemic performance issues.
You know, the FAA is a very professional, fact-based organization, and they don't make decisions that are too hasty.
But they're decisions that are oftentimes made in conjunction with the manufacturer. The official causes of the crashes are still being determined, but the focus has been on an automatic safety feature that may have incorrectly forced the nose of each plane to dip. The company continues to insist their 737 MAX planes are safe and is set to implement a software fix and enhanced training for pilots.
We're working with customers and regulators around the world to restore faith in our industry and also to reaffirm our commitment to safety and to earning the trust of the flying public.
Boeing plans to submit their final compliance documents for the software update to the FAA by the end of the week.
Boeing has proposed fixes to the plane, including more training for pilots and updates to the aircraft systems.
Next, find out why 52 cats need new homes in Denton.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework.
It makes no sense.
I don't know how he finds anything in his backpack.
I can't find my backpack.
I couldn't even read his handwriting.
Holding the pencil makes my hand hurt.
I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race.
Love is love.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be tornado next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Animal shelters in Denton took in dozens of new cats after authorities found more than 50 cats inside a northern Denton home. City spokeswoman Jessica Rogers said 2 cats were euthanized and other cats were showing signs of upper respiratory issues. Health conditions of the cats are still being assessed. The homeowners face potential charges, but it is not clear whether the city will take action. The cats were taken in by the Humane Society and Linda McNatt Animal Care and Adoption Center, but have been isolated from the main animal population.
In April, Americans are taking time to acknowledge child abuse issues in the country. In 1983, President Reagan proclaimed April to be the first National Child Abuse Prevention Month. In 2016, approximately 4.1 million allegations of child neglect representing 7.4 million children were made, according to the Child Welfare League of America. The number of children who received a Child Protective Services investigation has increased by 10% since 2013, and the percentage of victims due to alcohol misuse has increased by about 2%. There is an awareness march hosted by court-appointed special advocates of Denton County on April 5th.
Thursday is National Weed Appreciation Day, but probably not the kind of weed you're thinking of. We're talking about weeds like ragweed and dandelion. These plants usually get a bad rep for popping up in undesirable places, so National Weed Appreciation Day is a good time to learn more about their benefits. Weeds are beneficial to us and the ecosystem. Wildlife, like birds and insects, sometimes depend on their seeds for nourishment. Some weeds are edible and nutritious, while others have medicinal value. So the next time you go outside and you notice a weed, consider snapping a picture and researching it. You may find out all kinds of fun information about what's growing in your yard.
For more than 65 years, Fill the Boot has been a firefighter tradition. Denton City officials are giving firefighters an exception to solicitation rules in order to help their fundraiser. This week, firefighters stand on street corners using their boot as a donation box to provide support for families with muscular dystrophy. The fundraising has resulted in 3 new drugs for neuromuscular diseases being approved and more expected within the coming years. Every year, more than 100,000 firefighters go out on the street to ask for donations.
That's our time for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time for NT Daily News.